All right, how's it going, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the Purified Podcast. Today is March 22nd, 2020. I am your host, Luis Palacios, with my co host, Chris.
Hello, it is me. Pokemon Trigger, please.
Hey, we got the Pokemon Trigger Police in the house, of course. Now, excuse Chris a little bit with his mic today. His computer was not working as much as we wanted to. So we're just gonna wait for his computer to act up and everything. But he is talking us through his phone, so he sounds a little bit weird on some scales. Let's make sure that we get him to that, of course. Hopefully his computer will work again and we can get him back with his regular mic so you guys can hear him a little bit better. But either way, we're going to go ahead and start the podcast, of course. Thank you very much, everybody, for joining us to the live stream. I want to say hi to Deadly Gacha, LHW, Paper God, how's it going? And Deadly Gacha, happy birthday too, because it looks like you are now a year older. So that's cool. Anyways, we are here once again to talk about Pokemon Go news and updates and everything related to the Pokemon Go world. I can tell you this much. There hasn't been that much of a news outlet since last week for sure. There's been a couple of things that have been announced, of course, and that's what we're going to get in today's research. But Chris, do you feel like this week's of Pokemon Go news has actually been slowed down?
From what it has been, yes. Just because it hasn't been like a bomb of news. It's just been kind of a trickle on the stuff that we already really kind of knew or assumed.
Yeah.
So it's been exciting, but nothing like crazy.
Yeah, definitely. All right, so yeah, that's basically the gist of it. But when it comes down to us, we still be able to talk about some little things that has been happening, of course, in the world of Pokemon Go. All right, so for today's updates, today's research topics. Sorry, I got a little sidetracked there for a second. We're going to be talking about a new quest for Genesect, which is the brand new mythical that has been released in Pokemon Go. We're also going to talk about a new Ray boss coming in April, Landorus, which is the last of the, the wins out there of the Pokemon Go. Landorus is out there. It will be out there in 5-star race coming very soon. We have a couple other miscellaneous news like the raid hour. We also have a little bit of things that we want to talk about, just Niantic wise and all that, probably a little bit to see how the world is coping with this whole pandemic and everything, and how Niantic is doing what's best for the player. And then, of course, we'll be talking about the brand new, just announced Bone Dance. How do you say that, Chris?
For which part? Sorry.
For the new cup.
Oh, Voyager.
VOYAGER, thank you. For some reason I couldn't say the word.
Oh, no problem.
That's true. That's
looks
true.
Amazing.
That looks the meta for that looks kind of insane. It is kind of like the regionals for the meta for the regionals actually. But we'll be talking about it. Let's not get ahead. There's a lot to talk about for sure, and we're gonna get to that in just a moment. All right, so let's see. I'm gonna move this here for just a second, and I am gonna hatch a couple of eggs that I'm hatching in Pokemon Go right now. What we getting? Edoractyl. Is that a good one? Probably not. I already have a hundo of this. All right.
Man.
We good.
I haven't been happy with the 7Ks, man.
Hey, I was like opening gifts, and I was like, I might as well open them and be like, I'm ready. I'm the knight.
Lord Helix, man.
Hey, it could be something, you know. All right, next one. We got some eggs hatching, and we gonna like them. And no, we're not.
I did see that one of our friends hatched a shiny Lily, and that kind of surprised me.
I mean, if it's a shiny, it's a shiny. That depends, on what the shiny would be. I wouldn't mind. But if this is what 7Ks are going to be all the time, I am gonna just not open any more gifts anytime soon. The egg galore. Well, I mean, since you guys already know, Niantic is letting us actually, walk eggs a half distance because of all this. So everything is hatching right now for me. Not that I am, happy that having to hatch 7K eggs or having to even put 7K eggs in incubators, but it was a decent batch, I guess. Could have been a little bit better on that. But anyways, let's move on to the first document research. Will be, of course, Genesect. Now, Genesect was announced a little earlier in the year, or what in the year? Of course, in the week, and of course, it was teased and in the last few days to make sure that we understood. Now, the quest line for Genesect is actually a solo mission. There is confirmation from Niantic and all the sources that everything that you do in the quest can be done from the comfort of your home, as long as you have spawns, because you have to catch a lot of Pokemons. But either way, Genesect is here. It's a lot of people has been able to complete the quest in a 1 day streak. So because there's only 4 quests, I think 4 tasks to do on Genesect right now. Oh no, 5. And then I think on the 4th one you get Genesect. Most of those will of course be, and I'm actually pulling this information for Pokemon Go Hub. Now, if you do not want to get spoiled for this ticketed event that Pokemon Go has announced, you can skip this part of the live stream or the podcast, or not be in the live stream during the time, of course. And then, of course, you can listen to it later if you want to. So the first mission or the first task that you have to complete to be able to get through the quest, to try to investigate, it's battle another trainer 5 times, which because of the Go Battle League, you can do it at any time. You don't have to win or lose. Regardless of the outcome, you'll still get the ability to do the battles. Catch 25 normal types, since the event is going on for Genesect and the bug type event with the steel types and everything. Normal types have actually come in big masses, of course. And then give your buddy 1 treat, which is really simple. I feel like they could have done maybe 3 and that would have been a little bit better, but I know people are actually desperate with some items. And moving on to part 2, we have power up a Pokemon 5 times. Again, not a problem unless you start the game like right now. Catch 25 fire type Pokemons. Again, the ability to catch them in the wild, which is really easy because of the weather. And then centering gifts to friends. Now, this one has been getting a lot of people, especially in the countries that unfortunately has been in lockdown fully and they're not able to get to a Pokestops close by to them. The sentry gifts to friends, the best way to actually do it would be if you already had 3 gifts or more in your inventory before this. So if you do want to get this part done, make sure you get some gifts, but do not, for the love of God, do not try to break the rules out there in the world, because it is a tough war right now and you could get more than just what it could be, so and then of course we'll move on to the next one that gives you different rewards. I'm not gonna say the rewards in the live stream or in the actual podcast for the reason that you'll get to see them eventually, so that's not a problem. So for part 3, you get to transfer 3 Pokemons, catch 25 water types, and then hatch an egg, which actually I am in that step right now, and that will reward you with some pretty cool encounters, of course. But again, catch the 25 water types, transfer 3 Pokemons, really simple, really easy. The event is also going at full, so you're able to see different things. Quest number 4 will be make 3 great throws in a row. That may be a little bit difficult if you don't have Pokeballs, of course. Catch 25 electric type Pokemons and play with your buddy, which basically means you need to tap him and give him a little head pat and all that. So after that, the last one will be battle a team leader 3 times. Now, a lot of people are getting a little confused about this one. They think it's a Team Go Rocket Leader, and that's not the case. It's just a regular team leader that you can get through the Go Battle League. You go through the battles, you go down, and you can battle any of the leaders that you want to. Doesn't really matter which one, just do it 3 times. You'll be good. Catch 25 ice type Pokemons, and then take 3 snapshots of Genesect. So that means by the time you finish part 4, you'll get Genesect for part 5. So that is the quest or a drive to investigate, and the quest for Genesect. A lot of rewards, a lot of things. They did announce what kind of rewards you're gonna be getting, like super incubators, 5 premium raid passes, incense, and much more. So make sure that you guys follow the steps. Of course, you have to buy the ticketed event through the time of it happened at Friday the 19th, I think, and then if I remember correctly, and then moved over until I think the 26th. So you have plenty of time to actually do the quest. Just make sure you try to complete it because the spawns will be going away fairly soon. Chris, do you think that this is a good way to expand on the Pokemon Go world's new mythical Pokemon?
I mean, I'm really excited that I'm sure they edited the Genesect quest to make it easy for everything that's going on right now. So I'm really excited that they made it so you could do it on your own from your house, even with the incenses they supply. I mean, you gotta use a Pokecoin, but what's that? So I think it was a really good idea by them, and it's definitely helped keep people safe. And it's been fun. I mean, people have been posting their Genesects all over the place, and I've seen some pretty good IV ones. I personally haven't bought the quest yet, but I want to get my early Genesect.
Yeah, that is for sure. Now, I do want to go into Go Stadium to actually see what the IVs would be for Genesect in the Great League. So you can use it in the Great League, basically. Now, the one reason why I go to Go Stadium for this is because you are able to use the minimum IB requirements for research, raid, and hatching. So that at least give us a good idea of what the IB you want the most for Genesect when you catch it the first time around. This will imply both in research and in raids. Now, the reason why I do that is because Genesect is a mythical Pokemon, so he cannot be a trade to another trainer to lower the IBs or get better ones in that case. Excuse me. And that's why I actually look into this. Now, the best IBs for PvP would be a 10, 15, 14 Genesect. I think that's the case with most mythicals, but that is the number one pick on the IV spread. So you are able to have like a a more spread out battles. And then of course, having a 15 15 15 is not bad either, but it's in the lower hundreds. So you want to get that IV if you want to do PvP, but if not, then of course you need a 10 attack, 15 15 defense, and 14 HP. That's the best way for me for anybody to actually get that kind of IVs. But of course, if you get a Hondo, you can't really do anything about it anymore. You're just gonna have to wait for the EX raid pass to come around on April, which unfortunately is still postponed until further notice because of this outbreak.
Dude, yeah, you're gonna have to wait to get your next Genesect. That is gonna suck.
I just wonder if somebody already has that kind of IV spread, and I want to see it in battle.
I'm sure someone has it, but the luck for that is unbelievable.
Because, yeah.
Oh my gosh, man! So many people have already given it the second move and are using it.
Yeah, I mean, Genesect is a steel type as long as you don't. Excuse me. As long as you don't actually encounter any fire types, because he is quadruple weak to fire, being a bug type too, you'll basically be okay. But he could be something that you can use faster than Registeel at that point. You're just gonna have to actually protect him a little bit stronger than Registeel at that, and in that regard.
Yeah.
Well, that is mostly what we have about Genesect. There's not much going on aside from just the quest. It's already live. It's out there for anybody to get it. There's also other Pokemon that are spawning in the wild, like Shiny Nincada. Thank you, Peppercut, for actually mentioning that in the chat. Have you seen anybody get Shiny Nincada in our team, in our group, Chris?
I've seen at least 3 people post it in the Discord. I managed to get one on my girlfriend's account, and that was really exciting. I'm sure the odds are boosted, especially with everything going on right now.
Right.
And it is a shiny I was excited for, even though it's not like an extreme change.
If they implement speed into the game, then kind of could be actually be good in any super shape or form against the menace of Venusaur and Meganium in the Pokemon Go world.
I mean, Ninjask is basically the bug version of Haunter, I would say. So he's good, but if he was faster, he'd be even better.
I think
Yeah,
I think Nidjask actually learned Shadow Ball too, so I'm not sure.
yeah. Oh yes.
Yeah, so if you can get him at a good, like, if he has a very good fast move, I think Nidjask could do well. But he's probably, yeah, as you can say, is the same as Hunter, so he is like one shot, one kill at that point. No matter what you do, one charge attack will destroy it in the battle. It could be any, not even a fire type at that point. I don't know if he survives anything. I don't know his stamina. So
I mean, he's weak to like rock and ice, so he's got so much to worry about. I
yeah,
think that's why nobody uses him.
yeah, and that's why Hunter hasn't been seeing more success in Great League. Which I have a Hunter that's pretty good in Great League, but I don't know. Depends. Either way, that is Genesect, of course, guys. Make sure you catch him, send us screenshots, email us, whatever, tweet it, or whatever you want to show us, because we want to see your Genesect. That's for sure. Now, Chris, before we get to the next announcement, how's your shiny Cobalion hunt going?
Well, let's just say I'm still looking. Oh my god.
Yeah. Shiny Cobalion, of course, is still in race because of the special raid weekend with Sacred Sword as a special move. A lot of people have been getting it, a lot not, but unfortunately, because there's not a chance to raid as much because of this whole world epidemic or pandemic, there is not much time for us to organize raid parties and everything. That is one of the miscellaneous news, of course, that we have. Raid hour for our Wednesdays has been canceled, so there's no way for us to see a huge amount of people actually raiding for that 1 hour. So unfortunately, that's what it is. It is what it is. But of course, another exciting news that we have right now is that Landorus has been announced to be the next legendary raid boss, which at this point we kind of knew he was coming, right, Chris?
Yeah, it was definitely foreseeable.
Yeah, so Landorus is coming on Tuesday, March 31st at 1 p.m. until Tuesday, April 21st at 1 p.m. It will be the first time we see Landorus in Pokemon Go. He is also a reward for the Go Battle League as a rare encounter, starting at rank number 4. Of course, we knew he was the last of the trio to actually get out there and everything. So, is he better than the other two? I think he is, though. But he is really weak to a certain type, right?
Yeah. I mean, he, in my opinion, I would liken him to Groudon. Except he gets quicker charge moves than Groudon. So,
Right.
in my opinion, that puts him a step ahead of Groudon.
All right, I like that. So Landorus will be, of course, coming into the 5-star raids. His CP level, non-weather boosted, will be if you want a hundo of him, will be a 2050 CP, 2050 CP, and then a weather boosted hundo will be a 2563 CP. So make sure you guys remember that type of CP for the battles. There's no shiny of him, but hopefully his actual moveset will be a little bit better. Aside from that, the best counters to use against him will be any counters that you would use for Rayquaza, because he is quadruple weak to ice. So being ground and flying type really doesn't give him the benefit of the doubt with ice types, you know?
I do love the typing, but yeah, if you see ice, you are going to get hurt very bad with that typing.
Yeah, don't bring Landorus, don't bring Rayquaza, and don't bring Flygon in the same team, because one ice type move will wreck your entire team. Well, all of those Pokemon I mentioned have a quadruple weakness to ice. So unfortunately, that's what it is when it comes down to it. But yeah, that's basically Landorus. The announcement came a little bit quicker than we expected. I mean, it is almost the end of the month if we think about it at this point. They want to emphasize that there's still legendaries being announced. There's still Pokemons that we can catch out there. The game is still going, guys. It's just a tough war out there for sure. So yes, I wanted to talk about maybe the counters, but again, any ice type move will basically wreck this Pokemon. There's not much to talk about. Again, at the end of the day, we already talked about the raid hour being canceled, which unfortunately it is what it is when it comes down to it with everything that's going on. So let's move on to the next research topic today. Now, aside from all the small news that we're having today, we're just gonna go ahead and talk a little bit about what Niantic's response to this whole pandemic has been. Now, in the end of the day, Niantic had to make the hard decisions to postpone a lot of events, like we mentioned in the last podcast. They have mentioned that everything now can be done from home as long as you have spawns. There are, of course, some trainers that unfortunately cannot get any spawns being rural players, which I know that kind of sucks. We know that you're out there. The game has adjusted to our way of life right now, and even though we can't really play as much as a community that we wanted to, or how it's really strong as it is, we have to accommodate with what we can. And I think Niantic's response have been overwhelmingly well, giving us the chance to catch Pokemon sitting at home, the 30 instances, the what can the future be with this now, and how are we gonna transition from what we have now to the future. Chris, what do you think about that?
I do like the steps they've taken a lot. I mean, the incenses especially was a terrific idea, but now everyone's complaining that they don't have enough Pokeballs, obviously, to catch all the Pokemon from the incenses. And obviously, you're not supposed to be out spinning Pokestops for hours and hours right now.
Yes, correct.
So like they're saying, why not put Pokeballs in the shop for 1 coin, like 300 or so, which is a lot, but that would hold people off for a while, so they couldn't complain too much.
That's true. I have seen myself those kind of complaints. I think that they are examining what to do with it eventually, because again, there are a lot of parts in the world where they're just completely at a stall. They can't get out of the house only through the necessities that they need. My best advice when it comes down to it is that you can catch as many Pokemon as you want to. Niantic still is a company that needs to make money, and even with the adjustments, there is a chance to get Pokeballs if you want to. Now, I'm not saying, go nuts and actually, buy the Pokeballs that they are in the shop, but if you're able to at least get a couple of coins out there, just spend it on the 20 Pokeballs, on the 100 Pokeballs, whatever the case may be. I think Niantic at some point they're actually going to lower the ability to get more Pokeballs in the shop, just like they did with the incense, the 40 coins for it, which is like a huge discount. But give them some credit to Niantic. They have done what they could, but they still have to make money somehow. If they start lowering everything, it's really not gonna help them in the long run, and they have to expand as a company and still make the events that people like and everything. I mean, we all still like Pokemon Go. It's just that this kind of moment, it's the best to just do what you can. If you can't do anymore, then if you want to keep on going, you can always spend the coins. If not, maybe it's time to just, take a little break for a little bit longer. I know it's not something we want to do, but it's better out there than having to put yourself in danger. In some way, shape, or form, I think that's the best way, of course, of action. That is my best advice when it comes down to it. Again, we want you guys safe. The game is gonna be there still. There's still going to be a chance to play the game when we come back. There's there's times where we can open the game any other time. There's still things you can do without having to catch a Pokemon. just for the reason that the Go Battle League and everything else is still going on. So there's still a chance to experience this game as its fullest without having to do the requirements that we need. And again, Niantic still has to do what it can. They will do their best, but they can't just say, hey, we're just gonna give you everything for free, because what can happen after this whole ordeal ends? How are we gonna go back to our daily lives? Do you understand this? The Go Battle League, at least, you have 30 days where you can battle your sets without having to the walk requirements. But then again, we're gonna have to go back to walking eventually, because that's the core of the game. That's the core of what Niantic believes us to. And walking 3 kilometers was the norm until recently. Now that people are so used to actually saying, hey, I don't have to walk anymore to do this. Oh, look, now I have to walk again. I'm like, so people are going to actually get too adjusted to this, because it's going to take a while for the game to adjust to a new era of what the world is, So in the end of the day, I feel like we will be able to still play Pokemon Go, but it's going to be brand new in our eyes for that reason, I heard, yeah. So we just don't know how the world is gonna be for a lot longer. I think that they're doing their best, but again, it's a game where it requires us to go outside and play. Not at this moment though. It is now. It's no longer Pokemon Go right now. It's just Pokemon only when you can. So, Chris, do you think that maybe there's something else they could have done, or maybe something else that they could do to adjust to the players out there?
Oh yeah. I mean, something I've heard is that they could have like a one-time Pokestop, like only for you, like spawn wherever you are, and either just be able to spin it once and get your daily quest and just daily Pokestop spin, which I think's a good idea. I'm just not sure how that would logically make sense. Like that sounds like something that would take a lot of thought by Niantic to set up, but I think it's a good idea. I just don't know how it could logistically be placed by every single player just for them. I don't know. It's interesting to me though.
So let's talk of speculation at this point. And I see where this comes from. Yes, I also have seen where they say, hey, I don't have a Pokestop near me for another 30 minutes if I drive somewhere else. But I can't go out because, my world is in lockdown right now. So I can't do anything about it. I can't walk anywhere. I can't do anything that requires me to get out of the house unless I can do this. Now, this whole concept of a temporary Pokestop for yourself, just to be able to do either your stops, your spins, or even get a couple extra Pokeballs out there, I don't see it being a bad idea, but as a development perspective, I don't know how it can be implemented at all. You have to know that everything in the game right now is already being implemented. They are pushing new updates every day. But to be able to temporarily put a Pokestop somewhere that they will be able to use, I don't know. I just don't see it happening for the reason that it will appear in the map, then it has to disappear, then the spawns there has to disappear or anything like that. It's one of those things. Now, just as Peppercut said in the chat, it's a possibility to change something like maybe the raids, the raids timer. They could fix that when you're like ready to go. There's a raid out there. You can do it as long as you can do it, of course. And then, tap the go button and you don't have to wait another 2 minutes for the raid to start. I can see that happening for the reason that it's something that for a long time we've been able to wanting to have in the game. But it's still in the core mechanics of the game. You just don't have to wait as long as usual. So there is things out there that we can still do because it's already implemented in the game. The speculation is that what else can we do that can be pushed into the game and be introduced without major impact in the end of the day, Now they
Yeah,
can
yeah.
also, as a developer, they can put it in the game and then take it away. But that how is that going to affect the game? How many bugs are we gonna see in the game? You know, it's a whole ordeal. And again,
Oh my gosh.
they are not thinking that they are not thinking in a way that they say, okay, if we put this, they're gonna be happy. But then, how are we gonna take it away? How are we gonna do this? You know, it's like it's tough, and they have to make sure to say, you know, if we do this now, then the trainers are going to get accustomed to say, hey, give us this again, give us this again, give
Yep.
us this again. You know, so we can't let Niantic feel like they need to push everything just for them, because in the end of the day, the game is still one to go out to play. We just have to wait for the right time now. So I think I like I said, I like the ideas that everybody's putting out there, but again, it just depends that Niantic sees those ideas and implements it in a good shape that they won't destroy the game's core mechanics.
Yeah, I mean, John Hickey himself tweeted out that they're still looking at just different ways to alter the game for the time being to make everything safer for players. It's just all a matter of what the team decides on, and I think they're gonna go with the best choice.
Yes, and what's the best for their game, for their players, for their community. And again, and just like something that another podcast said, they are working in 3 different games. They have to adjust 3 different games in the long run. Pokemon Go,
Yeah,
Wizards Unite, Ingress, and whatever else they have to go through just to make sure that everybody in those communities are happy. So even though they have their teams for every single one of them, still not it's still something that, you know, they have to look into. What are their core mechanics? What are the things that they do? I know I'm repeating myself at the end of the day, but I just feel like Niantic has some really strong brains out there and a big patience to make sure that not come like the right word that I'm looking for is that they don't want to just say, okay, we'll do this for you, and
yeah,
then,
yeah.
you
Give
know,
us
and
an
then
inch, we take a mile.
yeah,
Yeah.
and then we're gonna take it away, and then people, oh no, why did you take it away? No, no, it's like that. No.
No, you're right.
So it is what it is. Just make sure that if it does come, or in a day of like this, they announce, say, hey, you know, we're gonna do this for the right for to help everybody out there. My best guess is probably just to boost the spawns everywhere to make sure that even the rural players can play a little bit more. You know, that's the best way I see it. The pocket coins and everything will be implemented in some way, shape, or form, but it has to already be in the game before they can push it out. You know, so either way, that is what I really wanted to say. Again, Niantic is doing a fantastic job through this ordeal. Let's move on. Let's go ahead and get more out of the way here. Before we move on to our PvP get good or get wrecked, of course, I want to give a couple of shout outs to some amazing content creators out there that they just been going above and beyond to make sure that everybody understands the situation. Everybody's adjusting to their lives right now. I personally always want to give a shout out to the Lura podcast, which even through this whole thing, even though they're just a podcast out there, they've been doing great to make sure that everybody out there is informed of the news. And of course, we have Mystic 7, JT Gilly, Soy 2 Dots, even Pokemon Master Holly, which she's gone through a lot in the last couple of weeks. And I think that through a whole Twitter drama that she's been going through, the ways that she told us her past, and now she's moving into a new future because even her YouTube has been hacked.
Yeah.
uh, just show her some love, you know. She needs a lot of support just because she still loves this kind of community. She still wants to create the content that she loves the most, and she wants to do it the best way possible. So I want to give her a huge shout out just because she is a strong, independent woman out there that just loves this game and loves our community and wants to do what's best for us, you know. So, Chris, do you have anybody you want to give a quick shout out to?
Oh yeah, yeah. I got two favorite battlers that I like to watch. Purple Kyogre is one of my favorite ones. He's amazing, and so is Matty F Baby. Love watching them win in their video and learning from them. Love it.
Yeah. That's for sure. The PvP community, they've been going strong now that they're having a lot of chances to do a lot of remote battles and everything. So thank you so much, guys. I do appreciate everything that you guys do. Keep grinding it out there. We're out there still for you guys, and if you guys need the help, you guys are always welcome to text us or email us or whatever else needs to do. I'll try to reach out to them, of course, and maybe get them to them in our podcast eventually. Of course, that's probably a little bit later in the future. Don't get your hopes up. We'll see how it goes, of course. But yeah, thank you so much once again. And let's move on. Chris, I think it's time. It's time to get good or get wrecked. Are you ready?
Yeah.
So,
Yes,
Chris, can you say once again the name of this wonderful cup that just been announced through the Silt Arena?
The newest Sylph Cup is the Voyager Cup, and it is looking like the spiciest tournament just because of how much is allowed.
Yes. The team, of course, of this tournament is going to be for... You know what, Chris? I talk too much. Go ahead and take it away with how this cup is going to work.
Fine by me. So what's very interesting, Cup, there are no restrictions, except for the fact that you can only choose one Pokemon from each region, except the fifth region is Unova, Alola, and Galar all together. You can only choose one from those three. So you choose one from Kanto, one from Johto, one from Hoenn, one from Sinnoh, and then one from one of the... And then you're probably wondering, what's the sixth one? It is a wild card. You can choose any Pokemon for that. The only catch is that you cannot choose two that are in the restricted in quotation marks category, and the restricted Pokemon are really going to be the top meta. So it's going to be Altaria, Azumarill, Bastiodon, Cresselia, Defense Deoxys, Dugong, Gardevoir, Hypno, Ivysaur, Jellicent, Lapras, Mandibuzz, if we get it, Alolan Marowak, Medicham, Melmetal, Mew, Probopass, Registeel, Scrafty, Skarmory, Swamp, Togekiss, Tropius, Umbreon, Venusaur, Wishcash, Wigglytuff, and Zweilous. So you cannot have two of these Pokemon from the same region on your team. You can have each of these Pokemon if they're in different regions, but for example, you can't have a Registeel and an Altaria on your team, which is kind of disheartening to a lot of people because I'm sure they've been running that in Go Battle League. But it will definitely make the meta a lot more fun because you won't see people running an unbeatable team. There's always going to be a way to get around it. And you will not see a lot of mirror matches. I know you will not see a lot of mirror matches this cup. I think the best way to start is going to be in the third region, only because of how hard it's going to be to choose that choice. I mean, you could end with it and see what you need to round out your team, but it's got a lot of heavy hitters. It's got Registeel, it's got Altaria, and Wishcash and Swampert. I really wanted to run Altaria and Swampert together, but they're both in the restricted list, so I can only choose one. And I decided to go with Altaria personally because it just wrecks. And I think you guys are going to really be used to seeing all these Pokemon because they are Pokemon you see in Go Battle League, because these are top meta Pokemon. You will see Altaria, you will see Azumarill, and you will see Registeel. So you have to choose Pokemon that beat those Pokemon. And yes, you won't always see those exact Pokemon on the team, because obviously you're not going to see both Pokemon on the team, but you will see them on at least, I don't know, a few of the teams that you're going against. So not every single team's going to have a Registeel, but you need to be ready for one. So definitely have a Registeel counter, have a counter for every single type that you can imagine. Don't get swept. And I think it's really important to have overlapping Pokemon that can beat one type, but they overlap in a way. I'm trying to think of an example, but none come straight to mind. But you really want two Pokemon that synergize together to be able to beat one type. So if one goes down, you're not going to be crying because you can't beat the Registeel anymore. And that's basically all I have to say about Voyager. I know it looks amazing, and I'm really interested to see the teams that people come up with.
Yeah, that's for sure. I see this meta actually really interesting for that many reasons. Now, I do want to clarify a little bit of what Chris has been saying. Now, you're still able to see a lot of the Pokemons. Now, of course, you can only choose one of each generation. So the first 5 picks of your team will be from generations 1 through 8. If you think about it, the first 4 at least will be from the first 4 generations, which are already fully out at this point in Pokemon Go. As for the 5th pick, Unova, Alola, and Galar. Of course, we do have Alolan Pokemons, Unova Pokemons, and then of course we have Galar Pokemons, which is I think the only one that we have right now is Galarian Weezing, correct? Yeah, so you will be able to see that, and of course your wild card. The wild card cannot be the same generation of the other. Well, it can still be the same generations of any of the other 8, but of course with those restrictions. That's the reason why he was saying that Registeel and Altera cannot be in the same team, for the reason that you can't have 2 Gen 3 Pokemons that are top meta because of that kind of restriction. I wanted to clarify that a little bit more, just to make sure that you guys understand. But if that's clear, on top of my head, I can see teams like Venusaur for Generation 1, Azumarill Generation 2, Registeel Generation 3. What did I say for Generation 4? I completely forgot at this point. Okay, top of my head, I'm gonna say... Wishcash? Wishcash is Generation 4 or Generation 3? I can't remember.
That's Generation 3 for Wishcash.
So let me go into my Sinnoh just because I just been like on top of my head there or something. Let's say Bastiodon. Bastiodon is Generation 4. Yeah. How about that?
Oh, yeah.
That wrecks, any flyers out there. Unova, Alola, Galar. I'd really been interested in running some Galar or some Unova Pokemon just for the reason we have them already into the game. But of course, anybody that wants to use will probably use Melmetal at this point.
Yeah.
Melmetal or Scraggy, those are the 2 top notches for the reasons that they have a lot of coverage. Aside from that, really, there's not many of those in Generation. The Alolan Pokemons, maybe Alolan Ninetales or Alolan Marowak. But we'll see, because even though it's such an open meta in this regard, the wild card is what's going to be interesting for me, just for the reason that, hey, it's time to use something non-meta related, but something that nobody's going to expect to be as strong as possible, For that reason that those restrictions are there, but I think, if I'm remember correctly, I don't see whatchamacallit. Where is that Pokemon? I have it on top of my head, but I can't remember at this point. Hey, there we go. Hunter. Is Hunter in the restricted area?
I actually don't think he...
Yeah, I don't see him in the restricted area, so...
No.
So, hey.
Hunter's not restricted.
Hunter is a good Pokemon to have out there if you want to have a hard hitter Pokemon. Of course, he's squishy, so you have to protect him as much as possible, but he hits hard, guys. He's a hard wild pick for sure. But, if somebody wants to get creative with this cup, let's bring something that nobody has seen yet, and maybe we'll bring that Pikachu Libre out there if you get rank 10 before this cup starts.
Ooh, that would be spicy, man.
That would be spicy because we don't know how well. I don't know. I think people have been able to catch the Pikachu Libre, so but I think he has a flying type move in his moveset.
I I believe flying press. I want to say flying press is actually a fighting move, but I thought it was fighting. I can't remember though off the top of my head. I just know it doesn't have as much bulk as Raichu, so unless flying press gives it some wins that it wouldn't have normally gotten
Yeah.
with Brick Break, then I wouldn't see the reason to run it. I mean, it would give it a better answer if it was flying. It would give it a better answer versus the grasses. So I'm interested to see that. But I thought it was a fighting move. I may be wrong.
I mean, he's quick on his feet. I mean, it is a Pikachu. But at the same time, I feel like it's good to see something non-meta at that point. And he's an electric type too, so a quick electric type with flying press and a double move on electric. Sign me in. Of course, you have to range rank 10 in the whole Go Battle League, so that is another way of going. I think how many more days do we have on Great League in Go Battle League?
I can check the game and it will tell me.
Oh, that's true.
I'm in it right now.
That is a lot of Pokemon to appear, probably.
Is it 39 days, or is that when the whole season ends?
That's when the whole season ends. So through
Okay.
the whole
It
month.
won't be too much longer then.
Yeah, because if I remember correctly, let's see. I'm still in Go Pokemon Go Hub here. I like to make sure that this is what we can. I don't see him. I don't see it. Maybe in the news tab. Just to make sure that you guys are aware of the current season.
Yeah, I'm not excited for it to switch to Ultra.
Yeah, that's why I wanted to see if I can get to at least rank 9 before Ultra. Because I am gonna get destroyed soon. So let's see. Season. There we go. Alright, so it's actually ending on the 27th. Ooh, we got 5 days left. 5 days. Next Friday. This coming Friday. Ah!
That's gonna be a grind, man.
Oh my goodness.
Fights a day.
It's been a grind since we have been able to actually battle. I done all my sets, except for today. I actually have to do this right after this podcast is over. But the grind, man, especially in rank 8, it's so much grindy. I think I finally found a non-meta consistent team. But again, it's just like if you go 2-5, your rank just tanks. If you go 0-5, then you're basically done for. You're not gonna recover unless you literally go 5-0 for the next few matches. But yeah, it's a grind. I feel like this season's to actually get to rank 8 or even to rank 9 at this point has been pretty bad these days.
It's definitely the hardest fights I've ever done.
Yeah, and each one is so grindy. I know people are wanting to actually get to rank 10, but holy moly, people. Can you at least give me a chance in this so I can get to at least rank 9, you know? So I'm not saying go easy on me. Trust me, I know everybody wants to get to that point. But it's just like, it's every single day, every single match. I'm just like, oh my goodness. Now, those kind of matches, of course, can be a little bit draining just because you know you can do 25 battles in one sitting if you want to. And my response to that is like, if you want to grind it. But if you want to take a break, do a couple of them in the day or throughout the day. Just don't forget that you still have some left before 12 o'clock at night, because once 12 o'clock hits and you move over to the next day and you're still on your battles, that will actually count for your battles for the next day. So make sure that you are aware that if you do go through the next day period with some sets, you're going to lose more sets for the next time. So far I've been good, but once this podcast is over, I am for sure going to need to do a couple of battles out there. Just because it's gonna take me probably a good hour just to get to 25 battles. Chris, thank you so much once again. But do you have anything else to add today?
I think the only thing would be for Voyager Cup, just make sure you're checking the Pokédex, because you may think you know what region the Pokemon comes from, but just make sure you're double checking the Pokédex, because you don't want to build your team and have this whole thought process in your mind on how it's going to run, and then find out that you accidentally chose a Pokemon that was restricted in the wild area, or have two for the same region or something. Or I guess 3 for the same region.
Well, the good thing about this, yes, just as you were saying, check the Pokédex, make sure you know which Pokemon is from which region it is. What you're trying to say though is that, let's say you're ready to do a cup next month, and you're like, okay, it's time for us to test our skills and everything. You start putting the Pokemons in the registry of Select Arena for your tournament, and you come with the realization that one of them is actually from the same generation as the other one from 1 to 4. And you're like, what can I do here? I need to build another Pokemon before this tournament starts. Make sure you check your Pokédex for the Pokemons that you need. It's very important. Just even I was getting confused. It's like, Whiscash is Generation 3. Altaria is also Generation 3. I thought one of them was Generation 4. Yeah, so make sure you remember which Pokemon it is for each generation. And if anything, just bring Melmetal at the last one. So, but yeah, guys, I think this is it for the podcast. I know it's probably a little bit shorter than usual, but again, there hasn't been as much news as I thought it would be. Just because everything is going on right now. Hopefully, we'll have a little more news and updates for you guys in the next podcast, but we'll see how the game is going to work out. It's a tough world out there, and I'm going to keep saying it for probably the next few weeks anyways. So, Chris, you have anything else to add?
That should be it for me. Yeah, I had a little bit of a spike.
No worries.
Oh my gosh.
No worries.
It's been a very eventful week, and I'm hoping to get some shinies from the Cobalion from Go Battle League, hopefully, but we'll see.
We'll see. You do?
I'm definitely excited
actually,
with the PvP.
Hold on. You actually reminded me there, and I forgot to put that in the show notes. Lugia.
I just remembered something too.
Yeah, so Lugia Special Raid Weekend is happening this coming week. I think it starts on Tuesday, and that means Cobalion's last chance to get shinies will be tomorrow on Monday. So make sure you do the battles out there, guys, or do as many. If you can get a raid going, make sure you do it if you can get your shiny Cobalion before that actually goes away. And Chris, what else do you remember?
I remembered because of everything going on right now, there are a lot of remote battles right now. You only need to be good friends to battle. So if you want, I would try searching far and wide on maybe Twitter, Go Stadium, see if you can find some remote tournaments and join up. And you don't even have to rank them, just join them for fun and do a battle for a day.
Yeah.
It'll be...
Yeah.
It's been interesting to see what people have done with it, man.
I like your thinking, just because, like I was saying before, everybody's getting so much into the Go Battle League since they can do 25 battles. Take a break from that if you need to. I mean, don't forget your battles, of course, but take a break. And if you want to, let's say, think of something else or do something else. The Select Arena is still doing tournaments remotely, and thanks to the requirements being lower, you can battle anywhere out there. You can rank them, you can rank them, you don't have to wait them in to count for your ranking. Chris, I think that's a great idea. So just to keep an eye out there for anything else. Hey, we got an Eevee and a Pikachu in the same place. Haha. Ooh. Yeah, they're both not shiny, so still pretty cool. All right, guys, I think that's all we have for you guys today. Thank you so much once again for joining us through the live stream, through our podcast today. Again, this is actually always happening at 8 o'clock at the Otakuzone, of course, to live stream it. And if you guys want to, aside from being in live stream, if you guys want to mention anything, email us, please, to the PurifiedPodcast@gmail.com. You can also send us a text or voice message at 941-417-9243. I'm always expecting any calls on that phone, guys. have it right here with me. I'm waiting for any emails. I want to show you guys. I want to talk to you guys. If you guys are listening out there, make sure you check us out in Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Stitcher, or any other podcast services out there. It will be great if you guys also leave a review. It helps a ton. We want to reach as many of you as possible, and keep going out there for you guys. But once again, Chris, I want to thank you once again to join us through this amazing podcast once again. Anywhere they can find you once more?
Yeah, the easiest way is going to be on Twitter. You're going to put at Christo, Christo 0517.
At Twitter, right?
Oh yeah, on Twitter. Sorry, that's my bad.
It's all right.
Feel free to message whatever you want.
No worries. Of course, you can also find me at Pure Libre Go. That is my Twitter handle for all Pokemon Go, Purified Podcast, and of course any of my other live streams. So once again, thank you so much, guys. I think that's all we have for you. I got nothing else. Chris, how about you send us off?
Okay. Thank you guys for joining. It's been a lovely night, and I hope you guys are all staying safe, and it's been a pleasure talking with you all. I hope you guys all have a great night, and see you all next time.
See you in that next one. Have a good night, guys.